knew I wanted to be in radio when I was in the circus. I travelled around the circus in Australia for about 6 months, and at each town that we'd stop in, we'd interview the local radio announcers, and they'd talk to us about being in the circus. And I remember meeting these radio people and thinking, I could do that. I'd like to do that. Biggest break was sending my tapes out when I was in the country, sending them to capital city radio stations. And I would say to anyone who wanted to get into radio to be very tenacious about doing that and to not be afraid to start out in the country. You don't have to start out in the city. Learn in the country and make your mistakes. And then when you get to the big city, you're a little bit more prepared because you've made mistakes in the country and people are more willing to let you sort of find yourself. They say in life that it takes 7 years to be an overnight success, and I reckon it probably took me about that. It took me about 7 years of being in radio before I got my dream job at Nova. Very difficult from a women's point of view because there are some radio stations that are very much boys' clubs. It's run by, we like to call them radio cowboys. And look, that's just the way it is, and you just have to become tough. And there are lots of amazing women running radio now as well in programming roles and general manager roles. And I think the more women in radio, the better it is, because I think we're a lot more in touch with our feelings. I remember the mistake that taught me a really valuable lesson would probably be that I was really upset when I got fired from one of my jobs. Sometimes getting fired can actually be a really big opportunity. It can be a really good thing to happen. And at the time I was 22 and I didn't understand why I was being sacked from my first breakfast radio job. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. It made me tough, made me strong, and it made me actually have to go out and really think about what I wanted to do in radio instead of just coasting along. So you have to have formal training to get into radio. I didn't. I know lots of people who have, and they've gone on to do really well as well. There is a school called the Australian Film, Television and Radio School, AFTRS, which has a brilliant radio course, and they don't accept that many students, so it's tough to get into, but by all means try that. I'd say the best experience in radio is just to get in there and do it. Don't be afraid to be doing jobs where you're not getting paid to start out. Be prepared to volunteer your time at a radio station. I'd say some great advice that I was given, I guess, about radio would be learn the panel, learn how to operate all the equipment so that you're not rendered useless if they say to you, all right, you're no longer a duo, you need to work on air on your own. That happened to me and I wasn't able to use any of the equipment at first. I had to go and learn it and I panicked. So know your craft and know how to work in all different areas of the radio station. If you're passionate about radio, you know, there's not just on air. You could work in the promotions department, you could work in the production department, you could work in programming. It's a fascinating medium to work in, and sometimes you won't get a job on air. So don't let that put you off. Just get your foot in the door of a radio station, doesn't matter what you're doing. And if you've got the talent, you'll work your way up. I felt like giving up heaps of times. Trust me, don't give up. Don't ever give up. I got a tattoo actually that has helped me breathe, believe, just be now. Self-belief is really important, and I went through a stage where I didn't have a lot of that, and it's about the friends that are around you. I read a lot of incredible books. I'm learning how to meditate. I'm learning how to just take it easy, not be so stressed out about things, and to enjoy it. If you love what you do, well then you're very lucky. But the rest will fall into place. So try and follow your bliss, try and follow your passion. I always say that a life lived in fear is a life half lived. So I always try and do things, even if I'm scared of them, I try and push myself through that fear. I don't always achieve it, but I try.